All right. So, like I said, as quick as possible, let's jump in so that we can do more awesome stuff here. So, we're going to build a tax management system, right? So, this video to be precise, right, is going to allow us to do all the structuring, right? So, before we jump in to start doing all of those, so I would want us to quickly make one or two corrections which we make earlier on. I think there should be a sign out button, right? So let me just have it here, right? So what we're going to do for the sign up button is sign out, right? So let's just duplicate here quickly. So this is going to be log out, right? It's going to be log out, and what would log out do? So log out basically is going to empty everything back, right? So let's just remove this because we wouldn't necessarily be needing it, right? So so for these, I think there can't be an error for logging out, right? So let me just remove this, right? And I think I necessarily wouldn't be needing anything, right? So rather than these, we can just do user would be. In fact, let me just come up and just copy, maybe something like this. Copy this. I know this is not so necessary, but then so let it be. It has to be empty back. Okay, so empty. All right, so let's see it. Are we losing anything? Not at all. So yeah, so this is what this is going to be. So let's do true, and we'll just say um out or something like that. So let's just do user, right? So save that, right? So save that. Okay, so let's clear this, and I necessarily won't be using that, but then I just felt it's okay that we create that, right? Okay, so let's focus on what we need to do, which is this. So somewhere log out, okay. So this, so I've already created that function. I'm using it again, so that's the reason why it's shouting at me. Okay, so save that and let's hit on that. So now let's add tags here, right? So once they click on that add tags, we can now do other things, right? So let me increase this guy just a little to like somewhere here. So come here. So these are screen here, which is this. So I'm going to cut it now, add a div tag, put that there, and here we could have a button, and here would be add tags, right? So save that. If I should refresh, we would see it here, but this is not where we want it to be. We have to come here and do something like this: class name, do flex, and justify. Justify. So justify should be between, right? Between. Then I would want to do items to be center. So save that. Let's see how that would look like. Okay, so we have this here. So let's see. So rather than we having this here, so cut that off. Oops. So rather than having this here, cut that off. Let's have it here. So save that, refresh here. Okay, so we have this. Now this button is too big, so we're going to do class, and the text is going to be X, right? And I'm going to say font to be, let's do semi bold, right? Okay, and save that, right? So if I save that, we'll refresh, you see this, so this is okay. Yeah, so that's what we want, right? So once here is click, right, so we would want a modal that shows up, and yeah, so just a modal that shows up, and there will be an input to enter the name. So before we go ahead, right, to do that, right, I would come here so that we can arrange out what we want, right? So let's come there, and I'm going to say tags to be equals to, so it's going to be a list of dictionary, right? So would have the title of the tags, right? So for now, let's leave it empty. So let's just do tax, right? So we'd have the detail of the tax, right? So let's do that detail. So that becomes the detail. Then I could say priority, right? Priority. Then I could say status, right? Then lastly, I could say completed, right? So this completed can either be true or false, right? So let's say true, it can either be true or false. So that becomes a boolean. For this status, we want to see something like ongoing, not started. So at start, it's going to be not started, right? Then why this priority, we can have it as high, low, urgent, right? So just like that. So these are the major things we would need. Now this task, we're going to pass it into. So let me just close all of this. So we're going to pass it into the dashboard, right? So that would be tax to be tax, right? So that tax dashboard would have access to that tax, right? So this point here, once they click here, so it should be open. It should be able to open up a modal, and in that modal we can now fill up stuff, right? So let's go create that, right? Or rather, let's design the UI first, right, for the tax, right? So it's just going to be like a card, right? So let's do that now. So I think I wouldn't need this anymore, so that I just focus on this. Yeah, something else I think I wanted to talk about here is if you remember earlier on. So let me just go back. These are sign up, right? Um, all things being equal. So let me ensure that everything is safe. Okay, good. So in these are sign up here, right? So if I do, let me refresh, right? So if I say I do Peter and I come here, I say Peter at test.com. So copy, paste, paste, and I change it to like let's say 12. I hit here, would see this. If I hit on that, you can see that it still navigates, which is an error, right? So for us to fix that, what we can do is at this point here, because this is where it ends, right? So we'll just say let it return nothing, right? So that's good. So let me go back and refresh here. So let's try it. So if I say Peter and I do this, right, I hit here now. Oops. Okay, so let's go back, right? So I say, let me just do that, right? So I do this. Now, if I change here to 12, right, and I hit here, we see this as usual. So if I do OK, it doesn't navigate me, right? So this is the fix to that bug, right? So let me just remove here and remove this and hit that. So that navigates me in. So I can put this and of course sign in, right? So that's good. So let's have that here. So but first of all, I would want to draw a line across, then we'll now start. So let me remove this. So down, 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 I think here. So I can do border dash B. Let's save this and let's see how that looks like. So we can see that. So I'm going to say PB to be like maybe 6, right? And MB to be like 4. So save that, refresh. So we would see this, right? So here's where our stuff is going to be at. So let me just calm down and create a div, and in here this is going to hold the card, right? So this card, so let's design the card in our mind. So I would want to have a p tag here that's going to hold the title, and I would hold the detail. So if I can spare right, so hold the detail, right? And I think first of all there should be two div here. So one is good. This is going to hold image, and this is going to hold, let's say, content. So if I save this and refresh, we should see this. So that's good. So now let's shape out the card, right? So I'm going to say border, and let's do a border dash um, gray, or rather, let me do blue because I've been using gray a lot, right? So let's do blue of 950. Then I'm going to do rounded MD. Yeah. So let's see first. So if we look at it, we would see. Oops. So if we look at it, we would see this, right? Okay. Now let's do py to be 2, and I'm going to say px to be let's try 2 as well. All right. um if I save that, we should be able to see this, so not bad, right? So what I can now do is, so I would want the text at least to be small, right? Except if there's need to change it, right, then I can. Okay, I think so far this is not bad, right? So the next thing I would want to do is to say flex, right? And let's do justify to be between, right? So I save this. If I should refresh, we should see this at extreme. Okay, so not bad. Let's do a width of, let's say, 300 300 px, and I'm going to say flex to be wrap. All right, so that's save this whole thing. So that's 300. Okay, so that's good. Now in here I can now paste this title and the rest, right? So if I should save this, we see this, right? So that's good. So here I can do class. So I'd want the font, right, to be, let me try semi bold, right? Then let it be uppercase. Save that. So if I should refresh, we'll see this. I think the text should be XS, right? Then what else can I do again? Let's do MB to be like maybe 2. Save that. So if I should refresh, we see this. Okay, so for this I'm going to use let's say the font to be let's try, okay, let it be as it is, right? So I think it's just text I might need to say um excess, right? Then I'll just reduce the opacity. So let me have the opacity to be around, let's say, 70, right? So if I save this and I do this, yeah, so we get this. So not bad, relatively, not bad. Okay, so this is where we would want to have our image. So for the image, I'm just going to say img, right? So we'll pass the auth, right? And I'll just do maybe image, right? And the source, right? src, the source. At the moment, we don't have the source, but then I can just do URL, and I'm going to say 4. And in this 4, I'll pass the file name, and of course I'll be using static, right? And that will be the folder name, static, and the file name is going to be whatever we'll name it. So let's just do that now. So this is going to take static, right? Then let me bring in the image which I would want to use. So I bring in that image. Let's rename it. So I'm renaming it to, let's say, image, right? So just that. Okay, so in here I'm going to name it to image.jpg, right? So save that. if I should refresh, we might not like what I would see. So let's just apply some styling so that it makes better sense, right? So I'm going to say class, right? So let's do object to be cover, width to be maybe, so let me try 100 px, then height to be around, let's say 150 px, right? So save this, and let's refresh and go. So we have this, right? But then I can't see my image. So um so all right, so I think that's the fix, right? Yeah, so that's the fix. So we have our image displayed here. I think I can increase the width just a little. So let's try that. Refresh here. Now I don't like this sharp edge, right? So let's change it, right? So let me do 20. Then I can say rounded to be um rounded to be MD, right? So let's save that. Let's refresh, and we have this. So this looks better to me, right? It looks better, like better. Okay, so let's come back. Let me just close here, and let's come back to this part here. So let's come back to this part here. So I would want my text, right, to just be here. Then in here we can now do maybe priority and other things which we might want to call there, right? So let's do that now. So just at this point here, so first of all, let me do this. So I'm going to say class, and I'll say flex. Would say this should be flex call, right? And h to be full, right? So let's refresh. So we might not necessarily see any changes, right? So if I come down here and I do something like, let's say p, I would want here to be like the status. So here is going to take the status. If I save, we would see status here, but that's not where we would want it to be. So what I'll just do is to say, let's say flex one, right? So if I should save and I refresh this, all right, so let's look at these one more time. So we have a flex, we have a flex code, we have okay. So what I would want to do here is just cut here and have it inside the div, so that would have this here. Then these are going to cut off. Let's refresh here. All right, and I think it would make better sense for me to have this inside a div as well. So we'll save that. Then here would have a class name, and I think I can do flex one. So the reason why this might not be coming up is because, of course, we didn't give it a height, right? So let's define the height, right? So I think that would make better sense. So at this point, we will define the width. So let me do a height of let's try, this should be around, let's say 200 px, right? So if I save this and I run this, we'll get we'll get that. But then let's do 100. So rather than using the pure height, let's do a mean height, right? So that it's still taking the shape of, oops, it still doesn't, why? So then let's just remove it and use the strict height. So let's try 18, right? I don't want it to go bigger than the image, but this is not what I want, right? So let's try 100 and let's see. So if we have this, comes down a little, let's try 180. Refresh here. Okay. So let's see 17, right? So refresh here. Okay. How does that look? I think it looks better. Let's try 68. Let's see. Yeah. So this seems okay, right? All right. So now that we have this designed, so here we can have our status here. then I would want to have delete here, right? So let's see, let me see if I have a delete icon. Okay, so let me just bring this in, right? So this, I would just call this delete icon, right? So enter. So let's come back here. So for my, so this is going to be status, right? And for the status, I'm going to use maybe like a dot, right? So let me remove what I have here and do something like this. So I can now do class, and I'm just going to say w to be um so let's do w1 h1 rounded to be full, and maybe bg to be green. That would be like 500. So save this, let's refresh, and let's see what we get. Yeah, so we get this. Let me try to save that, and okay, this seems okay. So now at this extreme here, I'm going to put up that delete. So let me just come here and do flex, right? So w will be full. I might not have access to that here, so let me come here and do w to be full. So what that now implies is that um so I can say flex here, and okay, so I can come here and do maybe like a let's try div, and so this image which I used here, so let me just copy it, right, so that it will be a bit faster. All right, so rather than we having this, so I'll just say delete, but then the delete is png, right? So that will be png. So save that. Let me refresh here. Look at what I have there. So let me just remove this, save this, let's refresh here. All right. Okay, so let's see. So we can do each of let's try 10px, and h to be, let's try 10px as well. So save that, refresh here. So we have it very small. Okay, so that's good. This guy shouldn't be here, it should be here. So let's see the fix for that first before we move on. Okay, so let me remove this so that I can really truly investigate what happened. What happened? Why are you here? You shouldn't be here. So what are you doing here? Alright, so why should you be here? Okay, so I think it's because of this guy here. So let's remove that, right? So it's occupying the full width, right? Yeah, so that's the guy. That's our guy. Alright, so I remember I cut off that image before, so let's have it back. So save that, and let's see. Oops, you can see it's here. And that's fine. So let's just do flex. Okay, we already have flex, so let's just do justify to be between. So we save that and refresh here. Okay, so for some reason the image is overlapping with this guy. So let me just do let's say flex 1. Let's try that, and not that. So let me just remove all of this and save here. So that's okay, right? So I can just stop here, right? So of course this guy is very thin and my video is getting too long. Wow. All right, so in the next class we'll definitely will talk from there and fix it, right? Yeah.